All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning. I'm Naresh Mago and with me is Prashant Kumar Sinha. The headlines. Counting of votes for presidential election to be taken up today at Parliament House complex. Government says there is no plan to run regular passenger trains by private operators. Congress President Sonia Gandhi to appear before Enforcement Directorate today in connection with alleged money laundering case linked to National Herald. Ranil Wickremesinghe to be sworn in as President of Sri Lanka today. Rishi Sunak and Liz Truss reach final leg of race for Prime Minister of UK. 69% of Afghan people chose India as Afghanistan's best friend. SBI launches WhatsApp banking services to make banking easier for its customers. Parupalli Kashyap and M. Manjunath advanced to the second round of Taipei Open Badminton. And in shooting, Indian men's team bagged silver medal at ISSF World Cup Changwon in South Korea. Counting of votes for the presidential election will be taken up today. It will start at 11 a.m. in Parliament House complex. Polling was held at Parliament House and state assemblies across the country on Monday. More from our correspondent.
Over 99% electors turnout was recorded in the presidential election. 100% voting by MLAs was reported from 11 states and Union Territory of Puducherry. The states are Chhattisgarh, Goa, Gujarat, Himachal Pradesh, Kerala, Karnataka, Madhya Pradesh, Manipur, Mizoram, Sikkim and Tamil Nadu. Former Jharkhand Governor Draupadi Murmu is the NDA candidate for the presidential election. Regional parties including Biju Janata Dal, YSR Congress Party, Janata Dal Secular, Shiromani Akali Dal, AIADMK and Jharkhand Mukti Morcha are supporting Ms. Murmu. Former Union Minister Yashwant Sinha is the opposition candidate for the country's top post. The term of incumbent President Ram Nath Kovind will end on 24th of this month. With Anand Kumar, Anupam Mishra, AI News, Delhi.
Railway Minister Ashwini Vaishnaw has said that the government has no plans to run regular passenger trains by private operators. In a written reply in Lok Sabha, he said, at present, IRCTC runs 2 Tejas corporate trains on Delhi-Lucknow and Ahmedabad-Mumbai routes. Mr. Vaishnaw said both the trains have incurred losses of 58 crore rupees. He said the Lucknow-Delhi Tejas reported a profit of 2.3 crore rupees in 2019-20 but incurred losses in the 2 subsequent years. The minister said the cost of granting concessions weighs heavily on railways, hence extending scope of concessions to all categories of passengers, including senior citizens, is not desirable. He said in spite of these challenges, Indian Railways has continued concession in fare to 4 categories, which includes persons with disabilities, 11 categories of patients and students.
BJP President Jagat Prakash Nadda has said that the Narendra Modi government is working with the mantra of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas and Sabka Prayas. He said the mantra is not just lip service for the party and the party-led government, but it has been implemented in letter and spirit. Mr. Nadda was addressing the Thanksgiving program in New Delhi organized by BJP supporters for announcing former Governor of West Bengal Jagdeep Dhankar as NDA's candidate for the vice presidential election. He said the BJP is not a dynastic party but is a party where people from ordinary families get opportunities for top posts. Mr. Nadda added that in the BJP's parliamentary board meeting, which was held recently, it had deliberated on 20 names and among them, Mr. Narendra Modi and all other members nominated Mr. Jagdeep Dhankar as the candidate for the post of Vice President.
सबका साथ, सबका विकास, सबका विश्वास, सबका प्रयास सिर्फ शब्दों में नहीं, उसको धरती पर उतारने का जो काम किया वो आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री ने। किसान का बेटा आज उपराष्ट्रपति पद पर जा रहे हैं। किसान के लिए काम करने का जो काम किया वो नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने किया। चाहे प्रधानमंत्री किसान सिंचाई योजना हो, प्रधानमंत्री किसान सम्मान निधि हो, आज हर तीसरे महीने पर प्रधानमंत्री जी की तरफ से किसान को 2,000 रुपए उसके बैंक के अकाउंट में जा रहा है और ये 11 करोड़ है। आज प्रधानमंत्री किसान मानदेय योजना के तहत पेंशन लगने लगी है।
Congress President Sonia Gandhi will appear before the Enforcement Directorate today in connection with an alleged money laundering case linked to the National Herald newspaper. The ED has asked Mrs. Gandhi to appear before the probe agency around 11 a.m. in New Delhi. Her son and former Congress President Rahul Gandhi was quizzed for 5 days in this case earlier. Rahul and Sonia Gandhi are being probed under the provisions of Prevention of Money Laundering Act in this case. The Enforcement Directorate has registered the case after a Delhi court took cognizance of an Income Tax Department probe against young Indian based on a private criminal complaint filed by Subramaniam Swamy in 2013. The Income Tax Department, which had been investigating the National Herald case since 2016, had filed a charge sheet alleging financial irregularities in the Congress-promoted Young Indian Private Limited, which owns the National Herald newspaper. Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi are among the promoters and majority shareholders of Young Indian, with each having a 38% stake in the company. Meanwhile, Delhi Police has issued traffic advisory ahead of Sonia Gandhi's questioning by the ED today. Extensive arrangements have been made by the police, such as barricading of Akbar Road, where Congress Party headquarters is located.
Nationalist Congress Party NCP Chief Sharad Pawar has dissolved all the departments and cells of the party with immediate effect. A late-night statement issued by NCP's General Secretary Praful Patel said that the departments and cells of the party have been dissolved with the approval of the NCP chief. Reports indicate that Mr. Pawar is looking to reorganize the structure of his party following the collapse of the Mahavikas Aghadi government in the state. Mr. Pawar was instrumental in the formation of the MVA, which comprised Shiv Sena, Congress and NCP. Union Minister for Earth Sciences Dr. Jitendra Singh has said that the India Meteorological Department IMD is exploring the possibilities to deploy drones to gather atmospheric data from various locations in place of weather balloons. In a written reply to a question in the Lok Sabha yesterday, Dr. Singh informed that an interdepartmental committee has been constituted by the IMD to conduct studies in this regard. He also said that the Ministry of Earth Sciences is setting up a thunderstorm testbed site over East India for an in-depth study of thunderstorms over the region.
The Indian Antarctic Bill 2022 is listed for consideration and passing in today's business of the Lok Sabha. The bill provides for the national measures for protecting the Antarctic environment and dependent and associated ecosystems. The legislation also seeks to give effect to the Antarctic Treaty, the Convention and the Conservation of Antarctic Marine Living Resources, and to the Protocol on Environmental Protection to the Antarctic Treaty. In the Rajya Sabha, the Weapons of Mass Destruction and Their Delivery Systems, Prohibition of Unlawful Activities Amendment Bill 2022 is scheduled to be taken up for discussion. India's largest public sector lender, the State Bank of India, has launched its WhatsApp banking services to make banking easier for its customers. Now SBI customers can avail certain banking services using WhatsApp, which may come in handy for many as they do not have to download the app or go to the ATM anymore. SBI customers can get their account balance and view mini statement on WhatsApp. SBI WhatsApp banking services will be available to customers when they send a message saying hi on the mobile number 9022690226. State Bank of India will also offer WhatsApp-based services to its credit card holders through the platform under the name of SBI Card WhatsApp Connect. Through this, SBI credit card customers can check their account summary, reward points, outstanding balance, and also make card payments.
क्या आप वरिष्ठ नागरिक हैं? क्या आपके मन में सेहत, आर्थिक, सामाजिक या भावनात्मक मुद्दों से जुड़ा कोई सवाल है? आकाशवाणी आपके लिए लेकर आया है कार्यक्रम एक कदम और बुजुर्गों के लिए, हर रविवार रात 9:30 बजे FM गोल्ड पर। आप अपने सवाल हमें व्हाट्सएप नंबर 9289094044 पर भेज सकते हैं या इस पते पर ईमेल कर सकते हैं एक कदम और airnews@gmail.com। 24 जुलाई को सुनिए कार्यक्रम का पहला अंक। आपके सवाल हमें 22 जुलाई तक मिल जाने चाहिए।
Bhutan's Economic Affairs Minister Loknath Sharma called on Union Minister for Agriculture and Farmers' Welfare Narendra Singh Tomar in New Delhi yesterday. During the meeting, Mr. Tomar said, India has extended all-out cooperation to Bhutan in the agriculture sector and will continue to help in every possible way. Welcoming the Bhutanese delegation, the minister expressed happiness over the long-standing friendly relations between the two countries. Mr. Tomar said that the government is also working on opening up Indian markets for various agricultural products from Bhutan. He informed that on the request from Bhutan, it has been allowed to export ginger to India and potato export for 1 more year. He assured that both the countries will continue to work together in the agriculture sector, and keeping in view the internal and external situation, we will take a positive approach to Bhutan's request as and when required. Mr. Loknath Sharma thanked India for cooperation in various matters, including the supply of sugar to Bhutan.
You are listening to the morning news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Counting of votes for presidential election to be taken up today at Parliament House Complex. Government says there is no plan to run regular passenger trains by private operators. Congress President Sonia Gandhi to appear before Enforcement Directorate today in connection with alleged money laundering case linked to National Herald. Ranil Wickremesinghe to be sworn in as President of Sri Lanka today. Rishi Sunak and Liz Truss reach final leg of race for Prime Minister of UK. 69% of Afghan people chose India as Afghanistan's best friend. SBI launches WhatsApp banking services to make banking easier for its customers. Parupalli Kashyap and M. Manjunath advanced to the second round of the Taipei Open Badminton. And in shooting, Indian men's team bags silver medal at ISSF World Cup Changwon in South Korea. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alert.
कंपटीशन की अगर आप कर रहे हैं तैयारी, तो उनके लिए ऑल इंडिया रेडियो पर हम लाए हैं अभ्यास, एक ऐसा कार्यक्रम जिसमें आप पूछेंगे सवाल व्हाट्सएप नंबर 9289094044 पर, या फिर ईमेल करेंगे abhyas.airnews@gmail.com पर, और हमारे विशेषज्ञ देंगे इसका जवाब. आपका अभ्यास हमारा प्रयास.
अपने बिजनेस को बढ़ाने के लिए लीजिए आकाशवाणी का सहयोग और दीजिए उसे बुलंदियों के पंख.
आपका बिजनेस लोकल है या राष्ट्रीय, आकाशवाणी देती है उपभोक्ताओं तक पहुंचने का हर विकल्प.
और अब तो आप घर, दफ्तर या दुकान पर बैठे बैठे कर सकते हैं आकाशवाणी के किसी भी केंद्र के लिए विज्ञापनों की बुकिंग.
आकाशवाणी के विभिन्न चैनलों पर विज्ञापन देना सुलभ और सस्ता.
बुकिंग है तो संपर्क करें 8700014242 पर.
8700014242.
सुनिए राष्ट्रमंडल खेल क्विज आकाशवाणी समाचार के साथ रोजाना शाम 7:20 पर. इसमें हिस्सा लेने के लिए आपको देना है कॉमनवेल्थ गेम्स पर पूछे गए एक आसान सवाल का जवाब. आप अपना जवाब ईमेल कर सकते हैं. पता है airsportscan@gmail.com. विजेता की घोषणा अगले दिन स्पोर्ट्स कैन और समाचार बुलेटिन में की जाएगी. इसे ट्विटर हैंडल @AIR News Alerts पर भी फ्लैश किया जाएगा. विजेता को टीम इंडिया की एक जर्सी भी दी जाएगी. तो देर किस बात की, सुनिए स्पोर्ट्स कैन प्रतिदिन शाम 7:20 पर FM गोल्ड 100.1 मेगाहर्ट्ज और हमारे YouTube चैनल न्यूज ऑन AIR ऑफिशियल पर.
Ranil Wickremesinghe will take oath as the President of Sri Lanka at the Parliament complex today after his victory in a Parliament vote to choose a new President for the island nation. Out of the 225 parliamentarians, 223 voted to elect a new President. Ranil Wickremesinghe received 134 votes, while Dulas Alahaperuma of the Sri Lanka Podujana Perumana party secured 82 votes, and National People's Power leader Anurag Kumara Dissanayake got only 3 votes. Presidential elections were held yesterday in the Parliament following the resignation of Gotabaya Rajapaksa from the presidency last week amid a severe economic turmoil in the country. Rishi Sunak has clinched his place for the final leg of the race to succeed Boris Johnson as the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. Mr. Sunak will now go head-to-head with Foreign Secretary Liz Truss as one of the two finalists to take charge as UK PM and Conservative Party leader. Sunak won the fifth and final voting round of Tory MPs with a resounding 137 votes, while second place Truss won the support of 113 MPs. Trade Minister Penny Mordaunt was knocked out of the race after coming in third with 105 votes. The 42-year-old Sunak, who has topped every voting round so far, added 19 votes to his yesterday's tally of 118 and comfortably crossed the 120 MPs mark, seen as the threshold to confirm a place in the final showdown. Either Sunak or Liz Truss will be chosen in a ballot of 180,000 Conservative members to be the party's new leader. The winner will be announced on September the 5th and will automatically become Britain's new Prime Minister.
Wildfires are raging across Europe, where a heat wave has intensified drought conditions. Though temperatures have cooled in France and the UK, firefighters are still tackling blazes in Greece, Spain and Italy. The fires in France's badly hit southwest have started to be brought under control. As the heat wave moves northeast, low water levels are hampering transport on rivers in Germany. Over 1,000 deaths have been linked to the extremely high temperatures in Portugal, while in Spain it is over 500. In Greece, firefighters were tackling a blaze on Mount Penteli to the northeast of the capital Athens. Hundreds of people have been evacuated from surrounding areas, including eastern Gerakas, which is home to nearly 30,000 people. Spain has also been battling multiple wildfires. 2 large wildfires are still out of control in the northwestern region of Galicia. In Portugal, some 900 firefighters were fighting 2 active fires in the country's far north. Major fires have also affected Italy in the past few days, causing the country to be put on its highest heatwave alert for today.
69% of Afghan people chose India as Afghanistan's best friend country, according to a recent survey. A Brussels-based news website EU reporter said that in order to gain insight into the people of Afghanistan, a survey was conducted which gathered an understanding of the common people's assessment of their past, current scenario and their future aspirations. According to the survey, the data showed that more than 67% of the Afghan people believe that the mistimed and mismanaged exit by the United States gave Pakistan and China the opportunity to encourage the Taliban to take over Kabul. A report.
India and Afghanistan have very ancient historic and cultural ties. Relations between two countries at the people-to-people level have remained good, surviving Taliban rule in the 1990s and since August last year. India also has strong stakes and strategic interests in Afghanistan. India has been the largest donor in Afghanistan among the countries in the region, doling out about $3 billion. India's help to Afghanistan has been diverse, ranging from building infrastructure to sending teams of medical staff and food. Afghan have been coming to India for medical treatment. Afghan students in large numbers have been enrolled in Indian colleges and universities. The survey was conducted in the month of March, April and May this year, in which a total of 2,003 responses were collected. The results of the survey also points to the way forward for Afghanistan. According to the data collected in this study, the majority of Afghans want elections for choosing the leaders who can represent them. Taliban took over Afghanistan in mid-August last year. Swati Rakheja, News Desk.
And now let's listen to our special program, Azadi Ka Safar, highlighting the importance of the day during the freedom struggle.
आजादी का अमृत महोत्सव।
Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. Birth of a Nation. India's glorious freedom struggle is one of the greatest struggles the modern world has ever witnessed. AIR News brings you a glimpse of this struggle every day.
Bharat amar, Bharat varsho swadesh amar, shopno go, tumate amora loghiya janumo, dhanno hoyechi dhanno go.
21st of July is the death anniversary of one of the pioneer leaders of the nationalist movement, Umesh Chandra Banerjee. Born on the 29th of December 1844 in Calcutta, Banerjee went to England to study law in 1864. In 1868, he returned to Calcutta and started his legal practice. He was able to gain a good reputation as a barrister. In 1882, he became the first Indian to be appointed as a standing counsel. He famously defended Surendranath Banerjee in a case in the High Court of Calcutta.
Umesh Chandra Banerjee was the president of the first session of the Indian National Congress in December 1885 at Bombay. In the second session the following year, which was presided over by Dadabhai Nauroji, Banerjee suggested that the party form standing committees for every province to have good coordination of its functioning. Banerjee was president of the party one more time in 1892 at Allahabad.
He also lived in England for a while and practiced law there. While he was a resident there, the Liberal Party gave him a seat to contest in the elections to the House of Commons. Although he was defeated, he became the first Indian to contest elections for the British Parliament. He passed away in Calcutta in 1906, aged 61. AIR News salutes the nationalist leader Umesh Chandra Banerjee.
वैष्णव जन तो तेने कहिए जे पीड़ पराई जान रे.
We remember freedom fighter Jairam Das Daulatram, who was born on the 21st of July 1891 in Karachi, now in Pakistan. In 1915, Jairam Das came into personal contact with Mahatma Gandhi and became his follower. He also participated in the Home Rule movement. Jairam Das joined the Indian National Congress and participated in the non-cooperation movement in 1920. He was also a leading activist in the Salt March and the Quit India movement.
Jairam Das stayed in India during the partition and was appointed the first Indian governor of Bihar. He represented a constituency from Punjab in the Constituent Assembly of India. From 1950 to 1956, Daulat Ram served as the governor of Assam. He breathed his last on 1st of March 1979. AIR News salutes the great nationalist.
We also remember the last Mizo Azad Hind Fauj member, that Thoma Rentley, who died on the 21st of July 2019. Born in 1920 in the state's Pukpui village, Rentley had served in the medical corps of the Indian Army prior to becoming a freedom fighter. During World War II, he was sent to Malaysia, where he had fought the invading Japanese soldiers. However, he was captured and taken to Singapore as a prisoner of war.
He met Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose when the latter once visited the prison. Following his release, he joined the Azad Hind Fauj and fought the British Army in Myanmar, along with fellow rebels and Japanese soldiers. However, they surrendered in the aftermath of the bombings in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The British convicted Rentley for waging a war against them and put him behind bars. He was released 2 years later in 1945 following the intervention of Mahatma Gandhi.
The Indian government awarded him the Tamra Patra in 1972 for his role in the struggle for Indian independence. The noble soul breathed his last on the 21st of July 2019 at the age of 99. We salute this great independence fighter.
That brings us to the end of this episode of Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. See you in the next episode tomorrow.
अब हर घर की छत पर शान से फहरेगा तिरंगा, गुनगुनाए जाएंगे नव विकास के गीत, आन बान शान का प्रतीक राष्ट्रध्वज तिरंगा। आइए आजादी के अमृत महोत्सव के पावन अवसर पर इस स्वाधीनता दिवस हर घर फहराते हैं तिरंगा और लेते हैं भव्य और सशक्त भारत के निर्माण का संकल्प।
आइए हर घर फहराएं तिरंगा।
Welcome back. The Gujarat Assembly will be run by students today. Chief Minister Bhupendra Patel will inaugurate the Youth Model Assembly program, which is being organized inside the State Assembly today as part of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Here is a report from our correspondent.
A total of 182 school and college going students selected from across the state will take part in the legislative proceedings today and will play various roles such as Speaker, Chief Minister, MLAs and so on. Speaker of the State Assembly, Dr. Neema Ben Acharya said the program aims at familiarizing the younger generation with the democracy and encouraging leadership qualities in them. In the program, the younger generation will also get to know how the government works and how laws are made. The program is being organized by G.V. Mawalkar Parliamentary Studies and Training Bureau of the State Assembly in association with the School Post. Aparna Khun, AIR News, Ahmedabad.
The Indian men's 25-meter rapid-fire pistol team comprising Anish Bhanwala, Vijay Vesidhu and Sameer won the silver medal on the last day of the ISSF World Cup Changwon 2022 in South Korea yesterday. The medal helped India retain the top spot on the medals table with 5 gold, 6 silver and 4 bronze. South Korea managed just 1 bronze on the final day and finished with 4 gold, 5 silver and 3 bronze medals.
Indian badminton player Parupalli Kashyap beat Chi Yu Zhen of Chinese Taipei to advance to the second round of the Taipei Open 2022 at the Taipei Heping Basketball Gymnasium yesterday. Parupalli beat world number 122 Chi Yu Zhen 24-22, 21-10 in the first round of the BWF Super 300 badminton tournament. The former Commonwealth Games champion will now take on world number 97 Chia Hao Li of the Chinese Taipei in the second round today. India's Thomas Cup team member Priyanshu Rajawat and an informed Mithun Manjunath also won their first round matches.
Now let us have a look at the weather forecast for today. The national capital Delhi will have a generally cloudy sky with light to moderate rain. The minimum temperature was 25 degrees Celsius and the maximum will be 34 degrees. Mumbai will have a generally cloudy sky with light rain. Chennai will have a partly cloudy sky with possibility of moderate rain or thunderstorm. Kolkata will have a partly cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. Srinagar and Jammu will have thunderstorm with rain. Leh and Gilgit will have a mainly clear sky. Muzaffarabad will have thunderstorm with rain.
And now an overview of today's newspapers. Election of the new president of Sri Lanka features on front pages. A picture of Ranil Wickremesinghe appears on the front page of the Hindustan Times under the headline Ranil elected as Lankan president in House race. India says no poll interference. Back Lanka quest for stability, says the Asian Age. Punjab cops gunned down 2 Moosewala killers, reads a headline in the Times of India. The Statesman writes 200 crore landmark, PM hails vaccinators, Modi lauds the collective efforts of scientists, doctors and nurses. The Economic Times writes government cuts windfall taxes on domestic crude fuel exports. A headline in the Business Standard says visa woes leave many grounded. Steep airfares, congested terminals, among other challenges for travellers. And finally, alongside a picture of placards with Murmu's photo at Paharpur village, a Hindustan Times headline says, congratulations in order, Murmu's village in Odisha ready to lay out presidential red carpet.
And now before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Counting of votes for presidential election to be taken up today at Parliament House Complex. Government says there is no plan to run regular passenger trains by private operators. Congress President Sonia Gandhi to appear before Enforcement Directorate today in connection with the alleged money laundering case linked to National Herald. Ranil Wickremesinghe to be sworn in as the President of Sri Lanka today. Rishi Sunak and Liz Truss reached the final leg of the race for Prime Minister of United Kingdom. 69% of Afghan people chose India as Afghanistan's best friend. FBI launches WhatsApp banking services to make banking easier for its customers. Parupalli Kashyap and M. Manjunath advanced to the second round of Taipei Open Badminton, and in shooting, Indian men's team bagged silver medal at ISSF World Cup Changwon in South Korea. For details of these stories and more, log on to our website newsonair.gov.in and News on AIR app. And with that, we end the morning news. Have a nice day.